Translation is the common language of languages. Now, there are two ways by which different languages and cultures can relate as hierarchies of an equal power relationship, the imperial way, or as network of equal give and take, the democratic way. In the democratic way, there's everything to gain from translation between languages. It had been done before. The English of the Renaissance gained from translations from the Italian, say, from Boccaccio's work, for instance. But most language advocates do not embrace the democratic logic. For them, the proof of the mightiness of their language is predicated on the assumption of hierarchy between languages and cultures, clearly driven by imperial logic. Unfortunately, hitherto, this imperial logic has been the dominant in the relationship between languages. My language and culture are higher than your language and culture, sang all the colonial systems as they set out to conquer and dominate and subjugate. The English did it in Ireland, Wales and Scotland, America, Africa and Asia. Language conquest was the best way to help the English erase the memory of self-awareness among the Irish, wrote Spencer the poet as early as 1593. And so, to do so weaken their resistance to English settlement in the land. Captain Pratt summed it up best when in 1823 he set up residency schools for the education of Native Americans, bragging later that the aim was to kill the Indian and save the man. Macaulay said the same thing in India when, in 1834, he advocated the use of English in India to replace Sanskrit as a language of education, in order to create a class of Indians in name, dress, color of the skin, religion even, but with an English mindset. The French started their own French language institutions to create a permanent psychological bond between their colonized elite and France. The Japanese tried the same in the case of their 1910-1945 conquest and colonial occupation of Korea. They imposed Japanese names and languages on the Koreans. And of course, the Spanish conquest of the Americas. This went hand in hand with a systematic suppression of native languages, even actively burning down any books written in Native American languages. In the case of the Maya, this resulted in putting to flames thousands of years of recorded history, philosophy, and knowledge. The colonial system may not always have burnt down books, but they did worse than incineration. They attacked the very basis of knowledge production and storage. In the colonial classroom, from Wales among the Welsh to New Zealand among the Maori people, the language of the dominated was associated with negativity, humiliation, violence even. Welsh kids were made to carry something like Welsh knot around their neck if caught speaking Welsh in the school compound. This was in 19th century Wales. In 20th century colonial Kenya, we were made to carry similarly humiliating items in addition to corporal punishment. In time, through gun, gore, and guile, the monolingualism of the conqueror became the way. And today, it is normalized as a desirable norm in the making of nations. Worse is the normalization of that inequality in the minds of the elite or the hitherto dominated, even long after the former attributes of domination have changed, like say in post-colonial Kenya, Africa. In the continent of Africa, we spend millions of dollars to create a small class of perfect speakers of English, French, or Portuguese, and deny knowledge to the majority of population, that is, speakers of African languages. We pamper European languages and pauperize African languages. In reality, there is no language, despite the number of its speakers, which is inherently more of a language than other languages. Every language is equally a memory bank of the knowledge, information, and experiences of the community that created it. And every language has the best and most detailed knowledge of the ecology of the area that produced it. Every language is equally capable of expansion to embrace new experiences, information, and knowledge, even if they have to adopt words from other languages. Languages as communication of information knowledge can easily make new words or borrow from each other. But beyond lexical attributes, every language has its own unique musicality, which can never be replaced by another. In that sense, languages are like musical instruments. There's no musical instrument which is inherently more a musical instrument than any other. The piano is not more of such musical instrument than, say, the violin or the guitar. Each has its unique musicality. So you don't say, let us destroy all the other instruments and just have the piano. Arranged in a system of give and take, different instruments can form an orchestra, a duet, or whatever, and generate harmony. But the same instruments, arranged in a different order, in a hierarchy, become a catastrophe and produce cacophony. The same is really true of languages. Arranged in a hierarchy of unequal power relationship and the imperial way, they produce catastrophe. Monolingualism, setting itself on top of the hierarchy, suffocates the subordinate languages and cultures. But arranged in a network of equal give and take, the democratic way, languages give life to each other. To sum up, monolingualism is the carbon monoxide of cultures. Multilingualism is the oxygen of cultures. Now, translation is one of the means by which languages and cultures do and can give life to each other. They enable the network of equal give and take, that is the democratic way. I'm not arguing a new case for translations. The facts speak for themselves. All world cultures have been impacted by translations. The Bible is probably the most translated text in history and has affected, for good or bad, the lives of millions. So also many other religious texts. European languages emerging out of the hegemony of Latin during the European Renaissance benefited a lot from translation from Latin and Greek. The thoughts of Marx ignited political and philosophical debates, revolutions even all over the world. But these debates were based on translations from the origin German. In my case, it was translation that connected me for a reason to Latin American literature. In our struggle against the dictatorship in Kenya in the 1970s, we turned to Latin American poetry for inspiration. For instance, the poetry of Guatemalan Otto Castillo, Intelectuales Apoliticos, in English translation as apolitical intellectuals. So the impact of translation on most cultures is there for all to see. The case I am making is for the democratic way, the network of equal give and take to counter the imperial logic of hierarchy. We can then use translations as a way of ensuring conversation between and among languages. I have often described translations as the common language of languages. So let there be conversations among languages, first among the marginalized. Let's see more translation between African languages, Asian, native South and North American languages. I really mourn for the languages we have let die with all the knowledge they carried, all the musicality buried with them. And of course, between the formally marginalized and the formally marginalized, meaning, for example, between African, Asian, and European languages, with translations seen as conversation. A conversation, as opposed to commands or exhortations, assumes equality among the interlocutors or the speakers. So another way of thinking about translation is as bridges. Remember, there's never a one-way bridge. I'd like to cite one effort which exemplifies the success of bringing languages, big and small, into conversation through translation. This is the Jalada Translation Project. In November 2015, a group of young writers who called themselves Pan-African Collective, through their spokesman, Munyao Kilolo, asked me, through my son Mokoma, to write them an original story in Gikuyu for their online journal called Jalada. They wanted to release a translation issue featuring specific, especially African to African translations. I gave them the only story I had ready, Ituika Reamoro Ungaro Kanakeregitomaga Ado Madiamarogi. That is the upright revolution, or why humans walk upright. By now, today, it has been translated into more than 100 languages in the world, including, of course, Catalonia and other languages in Spain. So, let me end with the same call. Translation is the common language of languages. Let all languages speak the language of translation. Thank you.